I got to ask you this.
Yeah, man.
There are so many great candidates this midterm election. I
Yeah.
say this, Dr. Jones, that these aren't the candidates when you and I were younger. They're just
No.
these aren't your
No.
my daddy's Democrat. These aren't the
No.
1990s Democrats. There are
No. No.
really
No.
phenomenal folks running. I was talking to some friends of mine who are from the South about you, about Stacey Abrams,
Yeah.
but especially about you. They said Dr. Chris Jones is incredible, but he's not going to win in Arkansas.
I love it.
Not going to win.
I love it.
Too
I
white,
love it.
too Christian. It's too Southern.
Mm.
And I got to ask you, the Southern strategy is still in effect. And
Yeah.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders is basically nepotism. Her daddy was the governor as
That's
well.
exactly it.
So the how, Dr. Jones, how do you win? Where are the numbers for you to win?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is to your friends who I appreciate their appreciation of who I am as an individual. But I would be willing to guess that they have not been on the ground in Arkansas. I'd be willing to guess that they have not spent any time, particularly during this campaign. If you get on the ground, you will see that there's a movement and an energy that is like none other. We actually have college students from an HBCU that are outside my office right now because we're having a barbecue and a fish fry. And they're with like literally retired folks who have been CEOs of companies. The movement that we're creating is something that's changing the structural dynamics on the ground. If the structural dynamics remain the same, I think your friends are right. And we knew that from the beginning. We had to change the structural dynamics. And for us, it's about doing three things. It's about firing up the base. Now, Arkansas has 3 million people. People think, I'm sure your friends are among them, that we're a red state. We're actually a non-voting state. We're 50th in voter registration and 50th in voter turnout. 1 million 1 million Arkansans could have voted last cycle, but didn't. Now, let me throw one other stat on you. If you look at party registration, only 12% identify as either Democrat or Republican. 88% of registered voters are registered no party affiliation. So you have to change the structural dynamics to go after them. Now, how do we do it? We start with the Biden base. Biden got about 420,000 votes in Arkansas without any investment, without any time on the ground, without any push. You take that and you add that to what we're calling our black belt strategy. There are 28 counties that are black belt counties. Their African-American populations at least 25% or higher. They represent 300,000 people who could have voted last cycle but didn't. Bring those together. And then the last piece is critical clay, because people forget about this. Terry McCullough forgot about it in Virginia, and that's one of the things that hurt him. There are counties where you don't expect to win, but you want to show up so you don't lose by more than you should. I call it shoring up the floor. And we've been going to everywhere. And that includes places like Harrison, which has a historical record of being a sundown town. It was the birthplace of the Klan, and the Grand Wizard still lives there. We went there and had surprisingly almost 50 to 60 people show up for an event for me in Harrison, Arkansas. Now, what does that mean? That means folks are ready for something different. And what we've done is tapped into the hearts and minds of this moment. They're exhausted by the extreme, and they're saying, I actually want to forget being red jersey, blue jersey, green jersey. I want one jersey, and that jersey's Arkansas. That's what we tapped into. That's what's going to win this race, man.
Wow, can I just say, what a great response. I'm for real, because I always say the largest voting block is the non-voter. That's the largest voting block. Folks, forget it. That's the largest. Focus on the non-voter. Focus on the non-voter.
That's it, bro. That's it.
People don't get that. Let's talk about you.
We got it from the beginning, man. We got it from the beginning. No, I said we got it from the beginning, and that's why this election has been about going to them. And I'll tell you, I want to say one other thing. Like, I think about your friend's comments, and I've heard it all. And I thought I'm a mathematician, so I ran the numbers, man. What it brings to me is the story of the bumblebee. The bumblebee story is about the story of doing the impossible, right? Because the experts said that the bumblebee should not be able to fly because its body's too big and its wings too small, but it flies anyway. It flies because it knows something that the experts didn't know back in the 1930s. They know now. And that is that when the bumblebee flaps its wings and works really hard, there's a vortex that's created underneath. And that vortex gives it lift. Well, see, we know that when I show up on every last street, when I go to every community, And when we engage with every Arkansan, that's the vortex that's being created. And I'm telling you, Clay, we got some crazy momentum on the ground right now.
Let's talk about you for a minute, in case folks
Yeah,
may
man.
not know. You are literally, you weren't joking, you are literally a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
You are a Morehouse alum. I didn't go to Morehouse, but I was accepted. It's a long
All
story.
right. All
But
right.
I love
Respect.
I love Morehouse to death. I went
Good.
to Rutgers
Good.
though. But give people your nonprofit leader, give people a little bit of your background and how you navigate into the space of politics.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a normal Arkansan that grew up with a normal Arkansas background. My family was in the struggling middle class. You know, I saw shut-off notices, you know, food stamps, but yet they worked. I grew up riding dirt bikes, eating honeysuckle, and fighting grasshoppers, and yet education was key, right? So we knew that you had to get an education. And my parents put opportunity in front of me after opportunity, and because of hard work, I was blessed to go to Morehouse College on a full scholarship from NASA, where I studied physics and math. Then I worked at NASA under an astronaut and helped build a plasma rocket that's supposed to go to Mars. Then I always had a dream of actually going to MIT and becoming an astronaut. But I can't hear out of my right ear. So the astronaut thing wasn't going to work out, but I was still blessed to go to MIT. Went there, got 2 master's degrees, one in nuclear engineering, one in technology and policy. And my PhD is in urban planning, because I'm really interested in the intersection between our solutions and social systems, right? Because there's an interplay that we often miss. But let me tell you, Clay, my wife is more outstanding than me. She's a ER doc, an Air Force veteran, served in Afghanistan. We have 3 beautiful daughters. And so together, you know, we've had a journey that's allowed me to run multiple multi-million-dollar organizations, including the nonprofits, to be a dean at MIT, and also be a teacher. All of that has been a journey of me putting tools in my backpack to come to Arkansas and serve the state that my family has been in for over 200 years. So when you talk about somebody that thinks that they deserve the position and that isn't showing up and isn't working and only is there because of their last name or because of money they got from Trump, I'm not letting that stand in the way. My family, I carry around me, Clay, a pouch, and in that pouch, I have a piece of paper. On that paper is a copy of the pre-1867 census record. It's my ancestors, and they were an age and a dash, not even a name. So you know what that means. They were here in South Arkansas. And because of what they did, because of what they planted and built, I'm able to stand here as the first African-American Democratic nominee for governor of Arkansas. That doesn't happen without hard work. That doesn't happen without believing that the impossible is only something that hasn't occurred yet. And so we come into this race with that history. We come into this race with that background, and we come into this race with that determination.